This is the Holy Mountain Podcast, where we discuss what it means to find rest, regain perspective, and reconnect with the world around us. All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Shane Oehler, and today I'm joined by my dad, Mark. How are you doing today, Dad?
Doing well. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thanks for hopping on. I'm excited. I think as we were kind of mapping out different, people we could have on the podcast, I was like, oh, I gotta have Dad on because you're obviously there, like the beginning of our experience hunting and getting more into that type of stuff. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about that more today. But I wanted to start by just hearing kind of some of your childhood, like what was your experience like growing up in the outdoors? And I think now, like when I describe you to people, I'm always like, oh yeah, my dad's like big, like fishing and boat guy. So kind of knowing like how you kind of like got into that, like hobby and interest as well.
Yeah. So as far as I can remember back, Mom and Dad would I was the youngest of four, and so most of the time camping was just me.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes a sister, but Dad and I would go fishing. We had a little, 12, 13-foot car top aluminum boats, and had this ancient motor that I have no idea how he got that thing to run, but honestly, it was old. And but we'd go fishing, and probably one of my favorite pictures is of Mom in the front of the boat holding me, and I'm sleeping.
Yeah.
So it's just, as a little kid, and then Dad and I just started fishing, and whenever we'd go camping, Dad and I would usually get up early, go fish till lunch, come back, have a sandwich, go back out, fish till dinner,
Nice.
have dinner, go back out, fish till dark.
Yeah.
And so I don't know, I always enjoyed that, and it was kind of the start of, I guess, what I enjoyed fishing. We did a couple of charter salmon fishing trips out of Astoria, Oregon, and I think we did Depot Bay a couple times, but salmon fishing wasn't a huge thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was mainly just trout and kokanee, and so it just kind of hung with me. I love boats more than I should probably, and I like fishing, and it's one of those I like to go. I don't now go as much as I'd like to, but
yeah,
hopefully that'll change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, did Grandpa grow up fishing too, or like was that just something randomly he picked up in life?
They never had a boat that I'm aware of, so it was always bank fishing.
Okay.
There are pictures though of when he was younger holding up salmon, and
Nice.
So I believe he and my grandpa would go salmon fishing, but it was like bank fishing from everything that I've seen. And I mean, talking to him a little bit, but
yeah,
I think when I was little and he got that aluminum boat, and I think that was the first boat that he'd had.
Okay.
Yeah. I think that's right. There might have had one other wood boat years, previous to that, but I remember some picture of that. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you remember, like, did you ever have like some conscious thought of like, this is what, fishing means to me, or like, this is like what that time outside means to me when you were growing up? Or was it just like that hobby you knew, like you just really enjoyed doing?
No, it was just something I really enjoyed doing. And the nice thing was, there were times, on a Friday night, Dad would be like, hey, let's go fishing tomorrow. And it's like, okay. So, we'd get up early in the morning and make a sandwich and throw the boat on top of the car. It's a little car top boat. And, throw the boat on top of the car, throw the motor in the trunk, and off we went,
That's
so
awesome.
A lot of the trips were just a spur of the moment. He had time, and I was little, so I had time.
Yeah.
And,
right. Yeah.
We go,
chores.
Yeah. I know it. Yeah. I don't have to feed cows, move irrigation pipe, do that kind of stuff. Yeah, I'll go fishing.
Right. Yeah. That sounds like a better option. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. If you were to like only fish one fish for the rest of your life, what would you fish? There's a lot of fish, but
Yeah. Boy, that's a tough one. And it depends if I'm eating it or not. So salmon fishing to me is a lot of fun. I like
hmm
the fight, and they taste good.
hmm
Sturgeon is probably one of my favorite fish to fish for, just
hmm
because there's so much anticipation. You're anchored, you're watching the rod tip, and it's just barely moving. And so you're trying to time it and set the hook, and you really have no idea how big the fish is
Yeah.
until you set the hook. Because, a 6 foot sturgeon bites the same as a 2 foot sturgeon.
Mm.
And so it is that anticipation for me
Yeah.
that I like that. Boy, that is a tough question though on what I'd rather do.
Yeah. I mean, I think even
I don't
like,
know.
yeah, growing up, I remember like you started doing some of those tuna trips, and that was always one that like intrigued me because it seemed like such fast action. But I don't think Ethan or I ever like actually went on one of those trips. But yeah, I just have those like memories of the different fishing being so different. So I was just curious. Yeah, for
Yeah.
you, what it would be.
When we did the tuna trips, it was just a couple friends. None of us had done it before.
Mm.
And, um, the smart thing would be to go with somebody that's done it so you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, but we're like, hey, we got these lures. Let's go give it a try.
Yeah.
And so we kind of pieced together what we had heard of how you do it. Found out that we did it right a little bit,
hmm
but we kind of missed another whole portion of tuna fishing. So I would like to go tuna fishing with somebody that's done it
Yeah.
and has the right equipment, because like we just trolled for them,
Okay.
and the initial strike was incredible. I mean, because they hit it hard,
Yeah.
and that's fun. But then after that, it's just like reeling in a log, because they just kind of put pressure against the boat. And they don't really fight.
Okay.
It's just you're
Constant
sitting there
tension.
reeling. Yeah. And there's to me, the fun is the fight.
Yeah.
And yeah, it is. It's just like reeling in a log.
Yeah.
And, but then we figured out later that once you hook that first fish, you leave it go, and you just stop the boat, because the other tuna will congregate around that fish,
Okay.
and then you start casting. And
Oh,
then that
interesting.
part they say is fun.
Yeah.
And we didn't have that set up at all.
Okay.
And it was just all we knew was trolling.
Yeah.
So
Didn't you say you guys still typically like if you got one on, you would probably have another fish on at some point, right? Like you're
yeah,
usually catching two.
usually, yeah. And it was one of those things where you'd hook one, generally speaking, because like we had three of us that went fishing. And so you'd have the three rods out, and one of the other rods would go off too. So you would generally have two, at
hmm
least. And the first time we went fishing, again, having no idea what we were doing, um, we caught 10 tuna, which I didn't think was that great, but, three each.
Yeah.
But I was talking to a friend of mine that went out on a charter, and he was talking about how many fish they caught. But I think, if I remember right, it was something like um, 40 fish. And I'm like, wow. But then I figured out that they had 10 people on board.
Oh,
So,
wow. Yeah.
so on the charter, they averaged 4 fish per people. And
Yeah.
us knowing what we were doing, we averaged 3. So I didn't feel too bad about
Yeah. That's pretty good.
that.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. You talking about like reeling a log in made me think of when we went halibut fishing. I'm trying to remember
Yeah.
I don't remember if I was like a freshman or sophomore in high school, but yeah, I remember catching that halibut. And wasn't it on Gordon's reel that was like an electric or something like that? So like I just had to hit a button, but still that I remember
Yeah.
feeling like, wow, I don't even know if I can do this, and Wasn't that just, it was like a 45-pound halibut or something, if I remember right.
Yeah, as I recall, it was something pretty close to that because they were normally about a pound an inch once they hit about 40 inches.
Okay.
And it seemed like we caught something like 42, 45-inch fish. And
Yeah.
so, yeah. But halibut can be one of those things where the initial hit is okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then as you're reeling it up and where we were fishing, I don't remember exactly where we went, but we're somewhere in between 200 and 500 feet deep.
Mm.
And so if you hook a halibut at 500 feet, there's a lot of reeling if you don't have an electric reel and not a lot of fight. Yeah. Once they get close to the boat where you can actually look down and see the color of the fish in the water,
Yeah.
then they get more active. And the first time that I went halibut fishing, guy I was with went to harpoon the halibut. And right when he did it, the fish shook his head. And so he just nicked the fish,
Oh.
which went straight back down to the bottom.
Oh.
And we were 500 feet deep. And so I'm
goodness.
like, I got to reel in another 500 feet the second time. And I was
That's
like,
brutal.
that's rough. And
yeah.
And I don't remember, we had like 2 or 3 pounds of weight on to keep the bait down at the bottom. It was, I was pretty tired.
Yeah. That's significant. Really making you earn it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Yeah. And then we were talking about before we recorded, but you were just in South Carolina with Ethan fishing. How was that?
That was fun. Fish for striped bass. I'd never done that before. And with 4 of us on board, we caught probably close to 30 fish.
Nice.
We kept 15 of them. And, they're decent size. And so some of them would fight really well.
Mm-hmm.
And then some of them would just follow the line in. So you're just kind of reeling. You don't really realize you have anything until fish is 10 feet away from the boat. Then all of a sudden they're like, okay, I don't want to be here anymore. And so, yeah. But so I just enjoyed being out on the water, and it was a nice day. It was cold to start out with.
Mm-hmm.
And fortunately, Ethan was smarter than I was and let me wear a pair of sweatpants and a windbreaker. And, but until the sun came up and started warming up, it was like, ooh, this is cold,
Yeah.
And but then once the sun came out, I mean, everybody's peeling stuff off, and we're shorts and t-shirt at that point. And, and it was just a nice day out on the water, but having caught fish, was good.
Yep.
Because we ended up with a triple the first time.
Oh, nice.
It's like one rod went off and then 2 others went off, and so, and then we had a couple doubles, and then you'd have some singles and stuff. But yeah, it was fun because nice day.
Yeah.
For me, it was just nice hanging out with Ethan and his buddy Brent I'd met before when we were there at Christmas. And so that was nice to know him. And then he brought a buddy from work.
Okay, nice.
But, we all got along, and Brent's gone fishing with that guide, I don't know, 5 or 6 times. And so they kind of know each other. And so the guide, he's telling us stories of everything. And I mean, it was hilarious.
That's cool.
So, yeah, it was fun. But the catching the fish was kind of the icing on the cake of that whole trip,
For sure.
It's like, would have been a good trip had we not caught fish, but it was a good trip made even better because we did catch some fish. So.
Yeah. That's good. But, yeah, it looked like a good time. And like you said, like the weather, when you sent me the pictures, I'm like, looks like you could not ask for a better day. Like water looked flat, blue skies, so warm, or like sunshine, like so bright. I was imagining it was warm.
Yeah. It was, because it started out, what was it, somewhere 42 degrees, something like that. And the wind was blowing.
Yeah.
And so it was a 20-minute boat ride and to get to where we're going to fish. And I was partially blocked by the center console. So the boat was just a center console. So it's all open.
Yeah.
Other than the little area of the steering wheel. And so it was brisk going out there. And then even when we stopped and started trolling, it was pretty cold, and then the sun started coming up, and it's like, okay, just even being in the sun felt better because it kind of warmed up everything a little bit.
Yeah.
And
Did
then
you end
that
up?
one monster,
Oh, go ahead.
oh, I say that one monster that I caught was about 8 inches long. I didn't even know that he was on there.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I feel like wasn't that like a joke for a while with like you and your friends that you would fish with that you would either be the one to not catch something or like catch a small fish?
Well, it was usually I went from catching fish every time I went, and we would typically limit out. I went from that to not catching anything at all,
Yeah.
and generally, it was if I were along, um, the boat wouldn't catch fish either.
Yeah.
And so I had friends that they'd gone out fishing and I hadn't gone. And, a couple of them were talking. It's like, how'd you do? And I'm like, yeah, we just didn't get anything. It's like, so was Mark there? I mean, that was the joke. Like, that
Yeah.
I was the bad luck. I couldn't catch anything. And if I was there, nobody else was going to catch anything either. So
Yeah.
I was happy in South Carolina to actually catch something.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good to shake that.
Yeah.
Did you guys end up eating any of them?
Ethan kept 4 of them. We were kind of planning on eating one of them, but then by the time we got back and cleaned them, it was pretty late, and so we ended up not.
Okay.
But Ethan's had it before. He said it's really good. I was curious to try one, but
Yeah.
we'll have to do it again sometime and
Nice.
actually cook one up.
Yeah. That's cool. So yeah, I guess like we've been talking about, like even my childhood, we fished a lot and grew up fishing, didn't grow up hunting. But I remember like really for me, I remember talking to Roman. So like been my best friend since second grade, and his family, I honestly think had only done 1 or 2 deer hunts, but I remember him telling me those stories and like really intrigued. Like I was really intrigued by those stories, and so yeah, I was curious to just hear like what was that like from your memory, like when I first got interested in hunting and started talking about hunting. Like what did you see or like hear, and yeah, how did that process go? I guess from your end.
So just background real quick.
Yeah.
Um, my dad never hunted.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did when he was a kid a bit, but growing up, I had friends that went hunting and stuff, but I never did. I wasn't against it. I just never did it.
Yeah.
And then, here's you as a little kid that's running around with all these little plastic animals
Yeah.
that we figured out that was punishment for you, is to take those animals away.
Yeah.
I mean, you could sit in a chair in a corner for hours and wouldn't care,
Yeah.
but you take your animal away, and it was like, the end of the world right there. So went from that to, I think I want to go hunting,
Yeah.
was a shock to me.
Yeah.
Because here I am, watching you just love animals and,
Right.
and all that too. I think I'm going to go out and kill one.
Yeah.
Was a real change of perspective there for me.
Right. Yeah, that's so funny. I remember in particular, like the one wildebeest toy that I had, that was definitely my favorite. I carried that everywhere with me.
Yeah. Yeah. It was funny though, just kind of back to the punishment thing, it's like we could put Ethan in the chair and he hated that,
Yeah.
And so we thought, okay, well, it worked for Ethan, so it'll probably work for Shane. So, the first time we went to punish you, you just sat in the chair. You didn't care less, And I remember one time I was in the kitchen fixing something, and I had stuck you in the corner, and it was supposed to be just for a couple minutes, and all of a sudden I realized probably close to 10 minutes had gone by, and you were just still sitting there, didn't say anything, and I'm like, oh, okay, sorry about that, Shane.
Yeah. I'm like, sorry about what? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, the wildebeest, we'd take the wildebeest away from you, and that was your punishment right there.
Yeah.
You hated that. So
that was so funny. Yeah. But yeah, so then do you remember, was it the summer going into my freshman year of high school that we both then did hunter safety together.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. I think it's pretty close right there.
Okay.
And I would say it was your freshman year. That would be my guess.
Yeah.
Um, I don't, I just don't remember like junior high, eighth grade doing that. I think it was right before or the fall of your freshman year that we
Yeah.
did the hunter safety course.
Because
I guess it was summertime.
yeah, I think it was summertime because I thought we did hunt that fall of my freshman year and we didn't get anything. And I remember like I killed my first deer my sophomore year of high school, if I remember right. But yeah, like again, I thought that was cool. Like again, me getting into hunting and like I think you just like seeing that as an opportunity for us to do something together. And it's kind of cool. Like even the story you told about like you and grandpa fishing, you know, I think hunting like quickly became that thing for us where like it was the two of us that were able to go out and kind of like share in that time and like that hobby together. Whereas, I mean, not that like you didn't have that time with Ethan, but it was different at that point. And so I remember
Right.
like from my end,
Right.
like feeling that was super special, like for you to do hunter safety with me and like for us to be able to go on those trips together.
Yeah. For me, it was like the realization that this was something you wanted to do. We could do it together, chance to spend time together. And
Yeah.
was, you guys grow up fast and all of a sudden you're gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just a chance to do stuff with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So we did hunter safety. And then I don't remember like what the full connection was, but with John Casey, was
Hmm.
that Rod's friend? Was that how the
Yeah.
connection was? Okay.
Yeah.
So
And he had, I don't know, I was talking to Rod one time about hunting and he's like, I should have you talk to John. And so met John and just kind of hit it off with him and he really liked you.
yeah.
And that later became that, you could go out hunting whenever you wanted to. I'd have to ask, but you could
Right.
just show up.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember thinking like John was so interesting from my perspective. Cause again, like still I'm young and kind of like modern like amenities, I guess. Like we were used to all that stuff. And then going to John's place, I'm like, wow, this guy's like a legitimate like mountain man. Cause didn't he
Oh yeah,
not
for sure.
have, was it no running
He
water,
had,
no electricity or something like that? I can't remember.
he had electricity, no running water, no bathroom. And then,
Yeah.
because he just had fixed a kind of apartment, if you will, up in the upper loft of the barn.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it was pretty primitive.
Yeah. And yeah, I remember that just thinking like that was like foreign to think like, oh man, like somebody really close to us, like proximity wise, is still living in this way. And then, yeah, it's got like the big old beard, just like
Oh
total,
yeah, yeah.
total mountain man stereotypes. I thought he was cool just from that. But then obviously to let us hunt his property, I thought was cool as well. So,
Yeah, that was nice because he really only had a couple people that he would let hunt. And fortunately, we were one of the few that he would let us go out.
yeah. Yeah. So over there, yeah, it was Western Oregon. So we were hunting black-tailed deer. And I remember, like, I don't know if you knew much about what we were doing, but essentially, I remember we were just like wandering and kind of like checking certain trails that looked like deer were walking in. But like in hindsight, I'm like, man, yeah, we really didn't know what we're doing. Like the things that I've learned now, I do think it's funny that, like, yeah, we were just kind of wandering around hoping like a deer would come out
But
where we were.
that was pretty much it. I mean, honestly, I had no experience hunting. And
Yeah.
so it was okay, there's some trails. We'll kind of walk the trails and see if we can spook anything. And
Yeah.
or happen to see a deer wandering. Because I remember like a couple times we'd walk trails, we'd see a doe off in the distance,
Yeah.
kind of looking at us as we walked by. But yeah, it was that. And then sitting at that one, the shooting range.
Yeah. That's right.
Um, and yeah, so it was 100% not knowing what to do.
Yeah. But yeah, before we I guess, get into like my first deer story. You killed your first deer, wasn't it the day before?
Yeah. Fern and I, it was like the last day of deer season, and he hadn't got one, I hadn't got one. So we had a aluminum jet boat at the time, and we went down to this island that's a greenway, so it's just public.
Mm-hmm.
And um, as we're kind of going around the island to get to where we're gonna beach the boat, saw this little fork, and it's like, well, at least there's something here, you know.
Yeah.
And so hoping that if it's us there, there's something else. And we wandered around for a while and saw it duck into this area of briars, which ended up being almost like this circle of briar bushes with about four, I think, four, maybe five apple trees in the middle of it.
Okay.
And deer tracks all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, man, there's got to be something, you know. And so see the thing dart in there, and you know, so I kind of crawl through. Kyle went around the other side, and I'm like, if that thing's still standing here, it'll shock me, you know.
Yeah.
And so I kind of get through the briars and I stand up and hear the thing's looking at me, and it's probably 20 yards away.
Yeah.
And I realized how small it was,
Uh-huh.
but it was a fork. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, I'm giving you the count of five to leave. If you run off,
Yeah.
I'm not going to shoot you.
Yeah.
If you stand there, I'm going to shoot you, you know?
Yep.
And so since it's Greenway, it was a shotgun with a slug.
Yeah.
And so I drop and looking at it, it's looking at me, and I'm like, okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, you're still standing there. I'm still giving him a chance to leave, you know.
Right.
And I
I'll count
finally,
longer. Yeah.
yeah. Okay, apparently it's a count to 10, not 5.
Yeah.
But I shoot it, and you know, it runs 15, 20 yards into the briars, of course,
Yeah.
and falls over, and we drag it out. But it's like there is that part of me that almost felt guilty because the forks were pretty small.
Yeah.
And my business partner at the time, he's like, hey, can't eat the antlers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good point. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah. So do that. And then I think we took it to Randy's place to hang it.
Yeah.
I remember right. And then the next day you had the youth hunt. So you still had another couple days.
Yeah.
And so we go out to John's place, and there's this one kind of little draw. And so we go out in the morning, we get set up, and we're 10 feet away from each other, something like that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll kind of watch the uphill side, you watch the downhill side.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just starts pouring down raining. And I'm kind of looking back and forth, not seeing anything. And then I look down and I just see this rod. I don't see the antlers, the head at all. I just see how wide this deer is. I'm like, holy cow. I mean, put mine to shame.
Yeah.
And and so I'm thinking, wow, that's a big, and all of a sudden, bang, deer, you know, you shot it. And it ran off, 10, 12 yards into the briars. And so I just remember you standing up and shaking, you know, adrenaline going. And so we let it sit for a little bit, and you want to follow the blood trail. So it's like, knew where the thing fell,
right.
But you go to where you shot it and you follow the blood trail up. And at this point, you know, walk up to the deer, and all I see is the hind end because the front end's under so I still have no idea what the head looks like. And I start pulling. I'm like, holy cow, Shane, this is a good deer, you know?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden the head pops out. I'm like, holy cow, Shane.
Yeah.
So that was a nice deer. And John comes down and looks at it, and he's like, yeah, I think this is the biggest deer that's ever come off of the property.
Yeah. And if I remember right, he said he hadn't seen that deer before, right? Like it had just cruised through during the rut. Because I remember he had talked about that one deer, wasn't it Gimpy that he called it?
Yeah.
That he said almost had like the frame of a mule deer, like pretty wide, really tall, but something with its, like one of its legs, like it was limping. And so that's why he called it gimpy. And so I remember like that deer was always in the back of my mind. Like gimpy's out here somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if we could get that deer, that'd be so cool. But
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it's funny, like the details that you remember that like I forget, or like little pieces that stood out to me, because I remember we, were taking some educated guess because we had seen does bed down in that one little thicket and then leave. And so we're thinking like, okay, if they're rutting, we know does are around here. Hopefully a buck is going to be in the area. Like we were finally like connecting some dots, I think, to have like some sort of strategy with it. But I remember really just like that being it. We're like, we have seen deer here before. We'll sit because there's a lot of trails coming in and out. And yeah, even you remembering the rain, I had forgotten about that, but I do remember that I'd put like toilet paper or paper towels in the ends of my scope to keep those dry so that like they wouldn't get rained on.
Right.
And that's one of those things. I don't even remember taking them out. I just remember looking through my scope and it was clear. But same thing for me, because I was sitting there like scanning, and I remember I had like just looked up the hill at the section you were watching more and just thinking like, please God, like just send us a buck. Like that would be so awesome, And then I look down and then here's this deer like head down coming up this trail. And so I know like immediately I could see just like the width of the antlers, and I was like, yeah, that's a good buck. Or like that's like a deer I could shoot, That's all I'm thinking. Like that's a deer I can shoot.
Right.
And so I remember looking up, like putting my gun up, looking at it through the scope, and it still had its head down. I just remember thinking like once he raises his head, like I'm going to shoot him. And so yeah, he like lifts his head. Now again, in hindsight, he was probably following a hot doe trail, like sniffing it on the ground and then like testing the wind, lifting his head. And so when he did that, I remember shot, and then he kind of ran towards us at a diagonal, if I remember right. And then, yeah, just like crashed immediately. But yeah, I remember looking back at you and both of us just being like shocked. But I remember standing up and just having total jelly legs, like uncontrollable, like can't stand up because my legs are shaking so bad. But yeah, I do remember like looking at it when it was just like dead in the brush. And yeah, you can kind of see the antlers, but like not really. And then, yeah, I just remember pulling it out a little bit and just again being like floored, but still not knowing like how good of a deer that was. Just like the beginner's luck type of thing. Like you don't know what you don't know at that point. And I knew it was bigger than anything we had seen so far, but I think having John come down and then like express, like, I think he told me, he's like, Shane, this could be the biggest blacktail buck you kill in your life. I remember thinking like, whoa, like that's crazy. And then, yeah, taking it to Randy's again and Randy being like really impressed by it. I was like, oh, okay, like this is a good deer, but not really knowing anything in the moment.
I know. And some of that is kind of funny to me because, we go there, they're hanging, and we went out a few days later to start processing. And so, Randy's got the light on in the barn and we're down there. And all of a sudden, 2 or 3 other people come in because they figure if that time of year, if Randy's got light on in the barn, something's going on.
Right.
His brother-in-law comes in, sees both deer hanging. And I mean, first thing he says, let me guess, that one's Shane's, the small one's yours.
Yeah.
I'm like, yep, that's pretty much right. So that was pretty funny. I mean, because that to me kind of just tied into the fishing thing.
Totally. That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was pretty funny.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so good. Yeah. I do remember even when you got your deer, I'm pretty sure I was at school. I remember like just getting out of a class and then you had sent a picture. And so I remember looking at it like in the hallway and like being so excited for you, but also one of those like, oh, I wish I could have been there. Like, I wish I didn't have school, like I wish I could have been hunting. But then I think even the next day, when I got my deer, I think I had school, but because it was like still the youth hunt, you're like, yeah, we'll go hunt the morning and then you can go back later. And I just remember feeling like the coolest kid ever, like going back to school, just like, I just killed a big buck,
Yeah.
like what have you done today? Go to math class?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
and now that you say that, I'd forgotten that it was a school day. But yeah, it was like, all right, well, because I don't remember on the youth hunt if it was one extra day or a couple extra days.
I think
But
it was a couple, but yeah, I would have to look back. I don't remember
yeah,
that.
but it was just I remember like, okay, well, we'll pull you out of school in the morning. We'll go hunt in the morning, and
Hmm.
if we don't see anything, then we'll go back to school and yeah, so that was kind of fun.
Totally worth it.
Yeah.
Again, I remember that hunt. Don't remember much of that school day. So just remember showing a bunch of people the picture, but or the pictures of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do remember that hunt too, just like being another one of those things like where I'm kind of like consciously thinking like, man, that's a memory that was like so special to me and like only you get it fully, And so
Right.
like again, one of those yeah, times like it again just made me super grateful that you were out there with me and like again willing to go through hunter safety, willing to go through all of it. But yeah, I think even from there, like if I think back of like other kind of hunting trips that we had together, like do you remember the elk trip we took when we just got like completely soaked? And I think we were
Yeah.
staying in
It
like
seemed like I think that was we took John and Jody's trailer, if I remember right.
yeah,
But I just remember us telling somebody about it a little bit, tromping around out there and it's just dumping. We finally hit our point where it's like, okay, we're done, and we go
yeah,
back to the truck and actually pour water out of our boots
yep,
and wring out our socks. And it was, yeah, that was a lesson in, okay, buy good equipment.
right. I remember, yeah, that was like I think the trip that really changed my mind where I was like, okay, if I'm really wanting to do this and get into this, I have to get some different gear because yeah, like we literally could not stay out there because I think at that point it was just cheap, like sportsman's warehouse type stuff, like as much of budget gear as you could get. And even our like waterproof stuff was like completely saturated. And like you said, yeah,
Yeah.
water
Yeah.
running out of our boots. And I remember like the wind,
Well,
and I was just like, like shivering, like how much
unfortunately
longer?
for, yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately for you, I have enough of grandpa's cheapness in me.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this says it's waterproof. It ought to be good.
Right.
And
Yeah. Oh, 20
not,
bucks.
not,
Yeah. Great.
yeah, it'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, because I think we both ended up buying new boots the next year before we went. Because
Yeah.
and on that trip, it's like nothing dried out overnight.
Hmm.
And if I remember right, we were only going to hunt for a couple hours. If we didn't say anything, and then go back. And I remember getting up in the morning, and clothes are still wet, boots are still wet, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't really want to put cold, wet stuff on and go out. And you're like, yeah, me too. And
Yeah.
so we called it early and went back. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was definitely a lesson and spend some money on good equipment.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And like you said, that morning, I do remember again just thinking like, oh, like it's gonna be really cold out there. Even though we had the camper, like you're saying, it was stuff is still soaked. I'm like, this is gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
and yeah, it's probably one of those two. Like if we had been in a bunch of elk, then I'm sure we like would have stuck it out more. But it was another one like we're just wandering. Like in Oregon, I remember thinking that like rifle season was like a week long for elk, and we already had no idea what we were doing, and so it's like how helpful was it to like wander around? And like, well, I didn't necessarily like learn anything, but I guess we'll try that again next year, you know. So
Yeah. And
that's
that's, I mean, that's one of those things that I feel bad of not having hunted before and didn't have any
Oh,
idea. It was like, well, it was like my thought at the time was, okay, we'll just walk around and hopefully we see something in the distance where we can kind of stalk them and
yeah,
or get lucky and they walk in front of us or whatever. But honestly, I had no idea what we were doing.
right. And like
Felt
again,
like we were in decent place,
yeah,
but no idea what we're doing.
because I can't remember if that was the trip that like we did see an elk like run across, like run in front of us. So it was another one of those like we knew like we were in a pretty good area. Like even the spots that we were going to, like I remember different times, um, like we were like hearing stuff, like seeing fresh tracks. Like so yeah, I feel like for not knowing what we were doing, we were in pretty good areas. But I think for me, even like again, looking back, I'm kind of thankful for that experience and like not knowing at that point and having to learn because like again, it's caused me to kind of like deep dive into it and like really learn about the animals and like why are they where they are at different times and like what are the features I'm looking for because I feel like a lot of people that did almost have that like family legacy of hunting, they knew like, well, my grandpa used to come here and he would shoot a deer every time he came here. And so my dad had come here and he shot a deer every time he came here. And like, why are the deer there? I have no idea. Just because like it's the family honey hole. And so then if anything shifts in that spot, that's where I feel like I see a lot of people now that get like super disgruntled, like the elk are gone, the deer are gone, this and that. I'm like, I don't know that they're gone. I think they've adjusted to pressure or like again things have shifted like vegetation has grown up, the habitat has changed enough that they're shifting. But if all you've ever known is like I show up here and there's deer here, then like they're also not
Right.
learning. So yeah,
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
actually thankful for like how it played out for us because it's caused me to learn a ton.
Yeah. And one thing for me, I didn't feel horrible in not seeing animals or getting one because
Yeah,
my business partner at the time, he's like, I've been elk hunting for 7 years and haven't gotten anything.
yeah,
And I'm like, wow, okay, so
yeah,
I'm not that far off from,
right,
you know, I mean, haven't seen anything, we didn't get anything. Okay, but he's theoretically knows what he's doing,
right.
and 7 years in a row of not getting anything.
Yeah.
So
And I think if I'm remembering right, the average is like an elk every 9 years for most people, I think hunting like on public land. And so, yeah, again, even having
well,
that perspective, like for us to be brand new hunters and be like 2 years in, I think at that point or 3 years in, like we saw an elk. Like that's pretty
right,
significant, you
right,
know?
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that just made me think. Do you remember our trip when I had drawn that tag and we were like hunting over by Ukiah? Do you remember
yeah.
that bull elk that we saw?
I was just thinking of that too
Yeah.
because here we are. We're driving to the place, and if I remember right, it was deer season, and we were going after
Yeah.
deer. But we see this big herd of elk kind of down this little valley, and I'm like, oh, that'd be cool if we were in the right season.
Yeah.
Um, so we get to where we're going, we're walking along, and all of a sudden, here's this big old bull standing in front of us. I mean, it's probably what 100 yards, I'm
Yeah.
guessing.
Yeah. For sure.
But yeah, it was like kind of did the okay, pretend you're going to shoot this thing,
Yeah.
and kind of get ready, kneel down, get the guns set, and all that.
Yeah.
But that was a beautiful animal, and to watch that thing run away, it was like, wow, that's pretty cool. But
Yeah.
wrong season, but it was like
Right.
just cool seeing it.
Totally. And I think that was probably one of the first times. I mean, besides probably that one elk that like ran through on that other trip, that was the first time I'd really had like a good view of an elk in the wild. And I remember like it was kind of some open timber that we were working through. And
Hmm.
so I remember like looking through and seeing the bull's legs, but like honestly thinking they were just like trees in the distance. And so then when I realized it was an elk, I'm like, oh my goodness, that thing is gigantic. Like just like literally, yeah, feeling like the legs were trees. But I just thought that was the coolest thing ever. It's like that was incredible. And then I think that
Yeah.
was the same night. when we had sat a different area and we weren't like lost. Like it was one of those, we were a little turned around, but you kind of knew like we were going to find the truck eventually. But
Right. Yeah.
weren't we hearing bugles like throughout that night as we were walking?
Yeah. That was, we'd found this one kind of open area, and you just see a bunch of tracks going,
Mm-hmm.
and then we just kind of follow those. And at the end, there's this little water hole. So we kind of sat up
That's
overlooking
right.
the water hole thinking that something's going to move in.
Mm-hmm.
And um, I don't remember if I needed to get propane or something for the trailer, but I left,
Mm.
went, yeah, it was propane, went, got propane. And as I'm walking back, I'm thinking, it's like, I don't have a way to mark where the truck's at on the
Yeah.
road. And so I just kind of took a heading on my phone compass.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, this will get us, pretty close. And we kind of knew the trail and all that. And of course, when you're walking back in the dark, everything looks way different.
Yeah.
And, so I kept taking a heading, occasionally with the phone. And I'm like, well, it seems like we're in the right place. And we just kept walking and walking and walking. And I'm like, oh, the road's got to be here somewhere. And I mean, had the flashlight out and shining back and forth. And I remember just seeing just a little glimmer on what, I didn't know what it was, but literally 20 feet in front of us. We
Yeah.
get up because there's like this brush line and kind of get through. And it happened to be a mud puddle in the road. So I'm like, okay, the road's right here. So that's good. So the truck ought to be right here. Look, I think look to the right, no truck. Look to the left, no truck. And I'm like, what in the world? And then all of a sudden, way off in the distance, I saw a little red reflector. And I'm like, well, that's got to be the truck, So
Yeah.
we started walking towards it and found it. But yeah, that's about as close to being lost as I ever felt like I wanted to
Yeah.
be,
Right.
especially at dark. And I don't know how to say this. You're kind of prepared, but not really prepared.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Like again, in the hindsight of it, I'm like, I don't know that we would have been super equipped to like spend a night out there.
Right.
But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, I have like a distinct memory of like looking at you and thinking like, how confident does he seem? And like hearing bugles at the same time where I'm like, this is like a really cool moment, but also we might be pretty lost. And so like having those like
Yeah.
conflicting feelings of like, this is a cool moment and I'm like semi scared. And dad doesn't
Yeah.
seem so confident of where we are. Yeah.
Well, I figured we'd run into the road, and I figured the truck would be right there. But we were close to the road, just couldn't see it. But
Yeah.
yeah, listening to the bugles in the distance, that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Of just hearing all that, but uh, you know, ended okay.
Yep.
Got back in the truck.
That's right. We made it. We lived.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Well, at some point, we've talked about getting you out here, seeing if we can do an elk hunt or something. So I think that'd be fun. Just, I get it's, yeah, I guess how long has it been since we have hunted together? It's probably been, I don't know, 6 years, 5.
It's probably been more than that because thinking back,
Oh yeah,
it's
I
like the
guess.
last couple years that you hunted here before you moved. It was you and Ethan going
Yeah,
more than me just because of the time of year for me with work.
yeah,
Um, and and again, it was like I was kind of jealous that you guys were going, but
yeah,
I felt like it was a good time for you guys to be able to spend together.
for sure. Yeah,
But yeah, it would have been nice to go, but it just didn't really work out.
yeah,
The hunting season doesn't align with my work.
yeah. Right. It's your busy season right now, but yeah, we'll have to figure something out because it would be fun. I was talking to
Yeah,
Caleb too, and I was saying I need to go back into my like ODFW system to see if I still actually have points that I could like try to use or something in Oregon. So even if I do come back there for something, I think that would be worth it as well, just
Oh, yeah.
to not
Hadn't,
have
hadn't thought about that.
points sitting there. Yeah, I hadn't either until you said something. But yeah, you've been
No,
doing these. Oh, go
it'd
ahead.
be fun. No, sorry. It'd be fun to go back there and go hunting with you,
Hmm.
especially now that you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, I still don't, but you can tell me what we're doing, and
Right.
but I think be a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, I was just gonna say for kind of like your recent trips, like you've been doing Alaska, and so you got to fish Alaska last year, but you're planning on doing that again this summer, right?
Yeah, so the first week of August we'll go back up there and um, halibut, mainly halibut fishing, but hopefully salmon fishing. Hopefully salmon are running this year. Last year they weren't running. We ended up with one salmon, but I
That's
would
good.
like to say I caught the salmon.
Nice. Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I feel like
things
on
are improving.
yeah, and on that trip you were kind of like the not like the expert maybe, but like you were the one driving the boat, kind of picking spots, right?
Yeah, for the most part. I mean, I ran the boat the whole time. Um, and so I was trying to figure out how to fish there versus how I fished here
Mm-hmm.
because it's different. And, there you're anchor fishing and 80 to 120 feet of water, where here you're kind of drift fishing and you're 200 feet to 600 feet.
Okay.
And so it's just a different way of doing it. And so it was, for me, the first couple of days were a lot of talking to people to try to figure out,
Yeah.
okay, how are you guys doing this? Because the first day we fished, we got one
Mm-hmm.
between four of us. And I'm like, okay, this is way different than home. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was like that evening at dinner trying to talk to people and, okay, you guys got more fish. What are you doing? Where are you going? Kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So the next day we doubled our production. We got two.
Nice.
And yeah. And then the next day we got four. And then the next day we limited out. So we got eight.
Nice.
So every day we doubled our, and then the last day we were there, um, it was pretty windy. And so it was a lot harder to fish.
Mm.
And I think we only got one, but yeah. So this year we're hoping we know what we're doing
Mm-hmm.
and we'll go home with more fish, but we'll see.
Nice.
But yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking if you keep doing the Alaska thing, I think one of these years, I mean, maybe in a while, got to save my pennies, but I would love
Yeah.
to do one of those like combo, like coastal black bear hunts and then like fishing trips. Cause I think that would be like
Yeah.
a super fun thing for us to do. Cause I've seen it where guys like are staying out on a boat and then just taking like a little dinghy or something like onto the like to land, working the edges, like when bears are feeding. And then once they kill a bear, they're like, all right, let's just fish. Like, man, that would be
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. That would be fun. That's one of my retirement goals is to have a boat and go up the inside passage and kind of fish along the way. And I think it'd be fun to have you guys come and,
Yeah.
do a combined hunting fishing thing and hang out for a week or whatever.
Yeah. That'd be so good. Bring the kids, do some homeschooling, you know?
Yep. Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. I was going to say that's the perk for our kids. Yeah. If we do keep going with the homeschool route, they won't have to skip school at all to go hunting. It'll just be built into the curriculum.
Right. Yeah. Oh, that'd be cool. It
Yeah.
would be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But
That'd be good.
yeah. But up there is like, there's some similarities to fishing here.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but there's differences as well. And so I don't know. It's hard in one sense when I'm going with three other guys to do what I want to do.
Yeah.
But I'd like to do like a combo of, okay, we'll anchor fish, but let's also drift fish
Mm-hmm.
and just see what works
Yeah.
if one works more than the other. I mean, the anchor fishing the idea is, you're anchored, and then the tide's got the boat pointed one way, and then you fish the tide change, and then the tide changes, the boat moves to the other side, and you're kind of fishing these mounds.
Okay. Yeah.
And so you're kind of hitting both sides of the mound. And um, so, yeah, it's just a different way. And we figured out that if you go too soon before the tide change, I mean, the current's just ripping.
Mm.
And so it's hard to fish and keep your bait on the bottom.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, it's a definite learning experience. It was fun, a good
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. I think it's cool. Like I have enjoyed those things too of like learning the different areas. How different is it from this? Or yeah, learning a new spot. How are things responding? Like even this last elk trip for me, totally different terrain. And so it's like, how can I apply some of these principles that I think will carry over, but also not be so close minded, thinking like this is how elk move or like this is how they respond, but be open to like, yeah, perceiving the differences of the spots and things like that. I think it
Yeah.
keeps it, to me, it keeps it interesting. You're never like mastering it, it's always something.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and just kind of relating that to fishing, it's like I've always enjoyed going fishing with other people
Mm-hmm.
because everybody has their favorite lure.
Yeah.
This is the only lure that works, or this is the only way to fish it.
Yep.
And obviously, you go with different people, and their favorite lure, the only one that works, is different
Yep.
than the other person that I went with that had the lure that's the only thing that works. And
Yeah.
so I just kind of looked at it like, okay, so well, try this. If that doesn't work, we'll try this. If that doesn't work, we'll try this. And
Yeah.
just kind of try to adapt to the situation.
Yeah. And I feel like that's something that you taught us really well that like I think really stuck with me because with hunting you have the same thing. And I've like hunted with people that only wanted to call in elk or something like that or only wanted to do something this way. And I'm like, well, you gotta respond to the situation. Like you can't just say, like, yeah, this is my favorite way to do it. So this is the only way I do it. I'm like, well, I'm actually here to kill an elk or, like whatever it might be. And so yeah, I think that
Right.
that adaptability, like that line actually like has stuck in my head of like everybody's favorite thing is the only thing that works. I'm like, okay, yeah. And that everybody's got a different opinion on what is the only thing that works. So
Right.
yeah, stay open minded to it and stay adaptable. That definitely stuck with me.
Yeah. And again, with the fishing side, because I've done more fishing than hunting,
Yeah.
it's people will do what they're used to and has worked for them in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So whether, you know, I'm fishing for salmon and I'm using a particular lure, I'm using a cut plug herring or whatever they've caught fish with before is what they will do.
Yep.
And we'd fish down the Rogue River one time, and former boss, he was like, he'd started a charter company down there, and he's like, yeah, if you haven't caught a fish within like half hour, 45 minutes, he goes, change what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And that's always kind of stuck with me too. It's like with the fishing side, it's like, well, if this isn't working, let's try something else, and
Yeah.
so you figure it out.
Yeah. That's super good.
I am a creature of habit too. So
Oh, totally.
salmon
Yeah.
fishing, salmon fishing, I start out with a blue hoochie with a chunk of herring, and it's like because that's what I've caught the most fish on,
Yeah.
But I will change.
Right. But yeah, but I think like again, even that thing like that you yourself, you're like, this has worked for me in the past, but yeah, you're not gonna force it to be it's either gonna work or you're not gonna catch any fish.
Right,
Like you're
right,
willing
yeah,
to do something different. I think for for me too, like there's gonna be things where I'm like, okay, yeah, like I'm gonna come to this glassing spot because when I've sat here and looked in this area, I've seen bears here before. It's like that's gonna be my starting point, but I'm gonna be adjusting, if that
right,
doesn't pan out, or same thing with elk or deer. Like when I'm in this spot, I'm typically seeing this, but if I'm not, like here's my backup plan. That's where like even like some of those bear tours that I've gone to, they'll talk about that too. Like guys often get stuck when all they have is a plan A and they haven't thought through anything else. And so then plan A isn't panning out and then they're just wasting time now trying to develop another plan, or they're just like too stubborn to adjust so they just stick with it. So if you can have those plans like like you're saying, this is what I'm going to start with. I'm going to fish with this for 30 minutes. If I'm not catching anything, here's what I'm going to move to. If that doesn't work, here's what I'm going to move to. Because then you always have something in process that you're like never feeling like you're failing. It's just kind of like, yeah, like this is all going according to plan. I have these
Yeah.
steps
Yeah.
mapped out. Yeah.
Yeah. But I remember one time going fishing, salmon fishing, and there was 4 of us. And so we each tried something different because we
Mm-hmm.
figured, let's see if one of these things attracts the fish more than the others. And, so like if one person's caught 2 fish and we haven't caught anything else, we're all switching to what he's doing
Yep.
because, and then we've done it that way and it's worked well. And all of a sudden the bite quit. And so it's like, okay, time to change something up,
Yeah.
So just recognizing that and not continuing to do the same thing forever and not get anything.
Yep. That's good. Cool. Well, Dad, thanks for hopping on the podcast today. It's been fun talking and reliving some of those memories. And I mean, we joke all the time. I feel like my memory is horrible. So it's like good for me to like rehear some of these things. I'm like, oh yeah, that is how that happened or what it was like there. Like, wakes up part of my memory, I think too. So it's been fun.
No, it is good because what's the wisdom of having 2 guys that can't remember anything, talk about stuff,
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I was literally thinking, I was like, this is good though, to even have it recorded. I'm like, man, even 10 years from now, I'll listen to this one again and be like, that's right. That is how it all started. Or
that is pretty cool. I like that idea.
Yeah. But
so yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, totally. We'll try to schedule something again, make some trips happen. But yeah, thanks again for hopping on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
All right. See you later, bud.
See ya. Love ya.
Okay. Love you too. Bye.
Bye. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening. If you are a Holy Mountain podcast listener and you want to shop on our website, that's officialholymountain.com. You can use the code HMPOD. So HMPOD. That'll give you 10% off any order on the website. Again, you can shop. We have different merchandise there, and all of that just goes back into the nonprofit to kind of keep funding the vision that we have for the organization, and just as kind of an increased revenue stream. We also have donations set up on that website as well if you do want to support us that way. Again, we are a nonprofit, so all of those donations are tax deductible. We'd encourage you guys, go check out the website, officialholymountain.com, or find us on social media as well at Official Holy Mountain. Well, we appreciate you guys listening, and we'll see you next week.